For Peace River North.
Thanks, Honourable Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to this motion, but I truly hope that members opposite will actually listen to our comments and understand how their government has created so much chaos in British Columbia. Our healthcare system, once the pride of our province, is now in a state of undeniable crises. This crisis is a daily reality for countless individuals, particularly the 1 in 5 British Columbians that do not have a family doctor, facing unprecedented wait times and walk-in times. In communities across my riding, the impacts of healthcare are substantial. A critical aspect of the ongoing healthcare crisis that cannot be overlooked is the government's stance on vaccine mandates. Today, British Columbia stands alone. Not just the last province in Canada, but the only jurisdiction in North America to enforce a ban on unvaccinated healthcare workers. This policy places us at odds with the rest of the continent, including Nova Scotia, which has just recently aligned with the broader consensus of dropping its mandates. This isolates British Columbia in a position that seems to disregard the evolving scientific understanding and public health strategies that have been adopted elsewhere. It begs the question, does the NDP government believe the science that guides public health policy in British Columbia is somehow unique from what informs the rest of North America? Let me remind the Assembly that people of British Columbia, that it was the BC United that was the first in calling to lift these mandates, recognizing the critical need for all available healthcare professionals to support our crumbling and struggling healthcare system. In fact, that call was made in June of 2022, 21 months ago, and yet this NDP government has refused to hire back our healthcare workers. During this time, nearly 2,500 healthcare workers have been sidelined due to vaccine mandates, and a mandate that now seems to be more of an artifact of political stubbornness than a measure of actual public health necessity. As our public health care system wavers on the utter brink of collapse, the exclusion of these professionals not only undermines our healthcare capacity, but also erodes public trust in our healthcare. The question that looms large over this Assembly and the province is whether the NDP will finally take the necessary steps to rehire workers that have been dismissed under this divisive policy. Will the NDP government continue to enforce a mandate that has become an anomaly within both Canada and in North America, sidelining valuable healthcare professionals at a time when we absolutely need them in our system? The NDP motion suggests that addressing training, recruitment, and retention of healthcare workers, yet it glaringly ignores the immediate opportunity to bolster our healthcare workforce by reintegrating these professionals that have been sidelined by this government's mandate. It is time for the government to reassess its stance, align with scientific consensus that guides the rest of the continent, and take decisive action to fortify our healthcare system by welcoming back these healthcare workers. The insistence on maintaining this mandate, despite clear and present need for all available healthcare talent, is a stark indicator of this government's misplaced priorities. As British Columbia becomes an outlier in healthcare policy, I urge you to ask yourselves, are you serving the best interests of our citizens, or are you adhering to policies that further exacerbate our crisis? The consequences of this NDP government playing these games are ugly, especially in northern British Columbia, where access to healthcare is severely compromised. For families that are without access to healthcare, potentially because of these mandates, the situation is dire, approaching catastrophic. When elderly and vulnerable can't access timely care, the results can be fatal. Is this the vision for British Columbia? A province where political games take priority over the real-world challenges, where stories of neglect and oversight in healthcare are becoming the norm. After 7 years under NDP leadership, it is time for accountability and decisive action to rectify the failings of our healthcare system. BC United stands firm in its view that it's time to move beyond these mandates and adapt a pragmatic approach. People desperately need this. The healthcare and well-being of British Columbians depend on it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member.